Once upon a time, in a lush and vibrant African kingdom nestled between rolling hills and winding rivers, there lived a princess named Adana. The kingdom, known as Aloya, was famous for its abundant wildlife, rich culture, and the wisdom of its elders. It was a place where nature and humanity coexisted harmoniously, with lush forests teeming with life and the people living in well-tended villages. Princess Adana was the jewel of the kingdom. Her beauty was unmatched, with eyes that sparkled like the morning dew and a smile that could melt the hardest of hearts. Yet, it was her kindness and wisdom that truly set her apart. From a young age, she was known for her generosity and her ability to listen and provide comfort to those in need. Despite being surrounded by luxury and wealth, Adana was humble and down-to-earth. As Adana grew older, suitors from far and wide came to seek her hand in marriage. Princes, nobles, and warriors all vied for her attention, each hoping to win her heart. However, none of them could capture her interest. Adana longed for a partner who would see beyond her royal status and love her for who she truly was. Her heart yearned for a connection that was genuine and deep, but such a bond seemed elusive. One warm afternoon, as the sun cast a golden glow over the kingdom, Adana decided to take a walk in the royal gardens. The gardens were a sanctuary of tranquility, filled with exotic flowers, towering trees, and the gentle hum of bees and birds. As she wandered through the winding paths, she heard a melodious song drifting through the air. The song was unlike anything she had ever heard, pure, heartfelt, and enchanting. Curiosity piqued, Adana followed the sound until she reached the edge of the gardens, where the royal grounds met the vast palm groves. There, she saw a young man climbing a tall palm tree with the agility of a gazelle. He was harvesting palm wine, a popular and cherished drink in the kingdom. The man's movements were graceful and confident, and his voice, rich and resonant, carried a tune that seemed to come from his very soul. Adana watched in awe as the young man skillfully tapped the tree, collecting the sweet nectar. She was struck by his dedication and the joy he seemed to find in his work. The song he sang spoke of love, nature, and the simple pleasures of life. Intrigued and captivated, Adana decided to introduce herself. "Hello," she called out softly, not wanting to startle him. The young man looked down from the tree, his eyes widening in surprise. He quickly descended and bowed deeply. "Greetings, Princess Adana. My name is Kofi." Adana smiled warmly. "Your song is beautiful, Kofi. I have never heard anything like it. Do you always sing while you work?" Kofi nodded, his cheeks flushing with modesty. "Yes, Your Highness. Singing makes the work easier and brings joy to my heart. I am honored that you enjoyed it." Adana and Kofi began to talk, and she discovered that he was not only talented but also wise and gentle. Kofi shared stories of his life in the village, his love for nature, and his deep respect for the traditions of their people. Adana, in turn, spoke of her own dreams and her desire to find someone who could see her as more than just a princess. As the days turned into weeks, Adana found herself drawn to the palm grove more frequently. She would watch Kofi work and listen to his songs, finding peace and happiness in his presence. They would sit under the shade of the palm trees, sharing stories and laughter. Kofi's humility and genuine nature were like a breath of fresh air to Adana, and she cherished their time together. With each passing day, Adana and Kofi's bond grew stronger. They discovered shared interests and a mutual respect for each other's values and perspectives. Kofi was fascinated by Adana's knowledge of the kingdom's history and her compassion for its people. He admired her strength and resilience, traits that were often hidden behind her royal demeanor. Adana, on the other hand, was captivated by Kofi's simplicity and his profound connection with nature. He had a way of seeing beauty in the ordinary and finding joy in the small things. His songs, often inspired by the world around him, resonated with her deeply. She found herself looking forward to their conversations and the sense of serenity that came with being in his presence. Their growing friendship did not go unnoticed by the palace staff and the villagers. Whispers and rumors began to circulate about the princess's visits to the palm grove and her association with the palm wine tapper. Some were skeptical and disapproving, believing that a princess should not mingle with a commoner. Others, however, saw the genuine connection between Adana and Kofi and hoped that love would prevail. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, casting a warm orange hue across the sky, Kofi and Adana sat by a small stream that ran through the palm grove. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers, and the sound of the flowing water created a soothing melody. Adana, Kofi began, his voice tinged with both hesitation and determination, there is something I must tell you. My feelings for you have grown stronger with each passing day. You have brought joy and meaning to my life in ways I never imagined. I love you. Adana's heart swelled with emotion. She had known for some time that her feelings for Kofi were more than friendship, but hearing him say the words made her realize the depth of her own love. I love you too, Kofi, she whispered, her eyes glistening with tears of happiness. I have been afraid to admit it, but my heart belongs to you. They embraced, their hearts beating in unison. In that moment, they knew that their love was real and that they would face whatever challenges lay ahead together. The next day, Adana decided it was time to reveal her feelings to her father, the king. She knew it would not be easy, but she was determined to be honest about her love for Kofi. She approached the king's chambers with a mixture of hope and apprehension. Father, may I speak with you? She asked, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. The king looked up from his desk, where he was reviewing matters of state. Of course, Adana. What is on your mind? Adana took a deep breath and began. Father, there is someone I have grown to love. His name is Kofi, and he is a palm wine tapper. He is kind, wise, and gentle, and he sees me for who I truly am. I want to marry him. The king's expression changed from curiosity to shock. A palm wine tapper, he repeated, incredulous. Adana, you are a princess. You are destined to marry a prince or a nobleman, not a commoner. Adana met her father's gaze with determination. Father, I know this is unexpected, but Kofi is a good man. He may not be of noble birth, but his heart is noble, and his character is strong. I love him, and I believe he is the right partner for me. The king stood up, pacing the room as he tried to process his daughter's words. Adana, you have always been wise beyond your years, but this decision is reckless. A marriage to a commoner could bring disgrace to the royal family and destabilize the kingdom. Have you considered the consequences? Adana nodded. I have, father. But I also believe that love and character are more important than birthright. Kofi has proven his worth through his actions and his spirit. Please, give him a chance to prove himself to you. The king sighed, torn between his love for his daughter and his duty to the kingdom. Very well, Adana. I will meet this Kofi and judge his character for myself. But know this, he will have to prove that he is worthy of you and the responsibilities that come with being part of the royal family. Adana felt a glimmer of hope. Thank you, father. I believe you will see the goodness in him, as I have. Kofi was summoned to the palace the next day. He arrived, dressed in his best attire, feeling both nervous and determined. He knew the importance of this meeting and was prepared to face whatever challenges the king might present. The king greeted Kofi with a stern expression. Kofi, you have captured the heart of my daughter, but before I can give my blessing, you must prove your worthiness. I have 3 tasks for you. Complete them, and you will have my permission to marry Adana. Kofi bowed respectfully. I will do my best, Your Majesty. The king's first task was a test of courage. Kofi was to retrieve a rare and precious flower that grew on the edge of a steep cliff. The journey was treacherous, with narrow paths and loose rocks. Undeterred, Kofi set out at dawn, determined to succeed. He navigated the perilous terrain with care and perseverance, and after hours of climbing, he reached the flower. Plucking it gently, he made his way back to the palace, presenting the flower to the king. The king nodded, impressed. You have shown great courage, Kofi. But there are still 2 tasks remaining. The second task was a test of wisdom. The king presented Kofi with a complex riddle that had stumped many learned men in the kingdom. Kofi sat quietly, contemplating the riddle. Drawing on his knowledge of nature and the lessons he had learned from the elders in his village, he found the answer. He presented it to the king, who could not hide his surprise and admiration. "You have a sharp mind, Kofi. You have passed the second test. Now, for the final task." The third task was a test of strength and endurance. Kofi was to carry a large sack of grain from the village to the palace, a distance of several miles, within a single day. The sack was heavy, and the sun was scorching, but Kofi's determination never wavered. He shouldered the sack and began his journey, his thoughts focused on Adana and the future they dreamed of together. Despite the physical strain, Kofi pressed on, reaching the palace just as the sun began to set. Exhausted but triumphant, Kofi presented the sack of grain to the king. The king, moved by Kofi's dedication and perseverance, finally smiled. "You have proven your worthiness, Kofi. Your courage, wisdom, and strength are undeniable. You have my blessing to marry my daughter." The story doesn't end there. The king's approval marked the beginning of a new chapter for Adana and Kofi, but it was not without its own set of challenges. As news of the king's blessing spread, reactions within the kingdom were mixed. Some celebrated the union as a triumph of love and virtue over status and birthright. Others, particularly those within the nobility, were skeptical and voiced their concerns. They feared that the marriage might weaken the kingdom's alliances with other noble families and disrupt the social order. Despite these challenges, Adana and Kofi were determined to prove that their love could withstand any adversity. They embarked on a journey together, visiting various villages and meeting with the people. Adana wanted to show Kofi the different facets of the kingdom he would soon help govern, while also learning more about the lives and struggles of her future subjects. In each village, they were welcomed with open arms. Kofi's humble background and genuine nature endeared him to the villagers, who saw him as one of their own. Adana's presence brought hope and joy, as she listened to their concerns and promised to address them. Together, they worked on small projects to improve living conditions, such as building wells, repairing schools, and organizing community events. Their journey was not without its dangers. One evening, as they traveled through a dense forest, they were ambushed by a group of bandits. The bandits, unaware of their royal status, saw them as easy targets. Kofi, however, did not hesitate to protect Adana. Using his knowledge of the forest and his quick thinking, he managed to outwit the bandits and lead them to safety. This experience brought Adana and Kofi even closer, strengthening their bond and deepening their respect for each other. It also made them more aware of the challenges faced by the common people and the importance of justice and security in the kingdom. After several months of traveling, Adana and Kofi returned to the palace with a renewed sense of purpose. The time they had spent among the people had given them a deeper understanding of the kingdom's needs and the aspirations of its citizens. They were ready to take on their roles as leaders and work towards creating a more inclusive and prosperous society. The king, seeing the positive impact of their journey, entrusted them with greater responsibilities. Adana was given a seat on the royal council, where she could directly influence policy decisions. Kofi was appointed as an advisor, using his wisdom and insights to guide the kingdom's development. Together, they initiated several reforms aimed at improving education, healthcare, and infrastructure. They also worked on promoting cultural exchange and preserving the kingdom's rich traditions. Their efforts were met with both praise and resistance, but they remained steadfast in their commitment to serving the people. As the day of their wedding approached, the entire kingdom buzzed with excitement. The palace was adorned with flowers, and preparations for the grand celebration were in full swing. People from all walks of life were invited to witness the union of Princess Adana and Kofi, the palm wine tapper. The wedding ceremony was held under the ancient baobab tree, a symbol of strength and resilience. It was a day filled with joy, music, and dance, as the kingdom came together to celebrate love and unity. Adana and Kofi exchanged vows, pledging to support and cherish each other, regardless of the challenges they might face. Their love story became legendary, a beacon of hope and inspiration for generations to come. Adana and Kofi ruled the kingdom with compassion and wisdom, always mindful of the lessons they had learned from their journey. They proved that true love knows no boundaries and that worth is determined by character, not birth. The kingdom of Aloya flourished under their reign, becoming a place where people of all backgrounds could find acceptance and opportunity. Adana and Kofi's legacy lived on, reminding the people that love, courage, and integrity are the foundations of a strong and prosperous kingdom. Their story was passed down through generations, inspiring songs, poems, and folktales. Children grew up hearing about the princess, who chose love over status, and the palm wine tapper who proved his worth through courage and wisdom. The tale of Adana and Kofi became a timeless reminder that true greatness comes from within and that every person, regardless of their background, has the potential to make a difference. And so, the princess and the palm wine tapper lived happily ever after, their hearts forever entwined in a bond of true and enduring love.